Alright guys, welcome back to the channel once again, and in this video we're going to be talking about the Cloud Run deployment. So in the previous video we already looked at like how we can deploy the application on the Cloud Run service, and there are multiple ways to deployment, like whether you can connect the direct GitHub repository via trigger, or you can just select the image from the artifact registry, and you can also select like trigger option from the Cloud Run deploy. So there are three ways over there, but mostly like you are going to the production environment, so you're going to be connecting it through the artifact registry. Like you're going to push your code via pipeline to the artifact, and then it will pick the latest image from the artifact and deploy the image on the like service. Otherwise you can directly connect to the GitHub, so that whatever the branch you select over there, so just latest commit gonna be picked up by the trigger event into the Cloud Run, and then it will just deploy that image build directly into this Cloud Run service. So it's kind of like similar process whenever you just like connect the GitHub repository. So it's gonna create one like artifact registry into the like artifact, and then after that it will start keeping the image whenever you commit the code in that branch and then push it. So these are the two things, and there is another thing as well, and we're gonna look at all those options over there. And then also we're gonna be doing into this video is like not making the application publicly available on the public routes. We're gonna be connecting with the load balancer and enable the Cloud NAT gateway, VPC accessor, and then assigning the IP address range for the subnet, so that like it will be accessible inside the VPC, and then VPC will receive the request via load balancer and then route it to your like service. So it's not like directly you just create a route over there or collect a public domain and that I directly make the service accessible. So in the production environment we usually do like that. So we just make service internally accessible inside the VPC, and then VPC will route the traffic from the load balancer to your service. It's kind of that like service incoming and outgoing, both the things over there. So let's go to my screen and let's look at that. So I have already deployed one service previously that we deployed the service, so I already connected it with the load balancer. So I have this IP I'm going to show you on my screen, and then later on we're going to be creating another service, and then we're going to be just doing the same process again. So let's do it. All right guys, so as you can see my screen, I am on the Cloud Run service page into the Google Cloud. So you can see over here that the service we deployed in the previous video, and then you see it's running. So I just connected it with the IP address in the load balancer. So if you see over here, this IP address is like HTTP route, and if I reload this one, so I'm gonna see the same thing what over here. But if I go inside the service, and if there are public routes over here, those not gonna be accessible anymore because I have removed the public access. I think those will be disabled. Routes are not over here because we have removed the public access to it. So now we have like put it internal, so it's gonna be only internally accessible inside the VPC, and then there is a VPC accessor connected. So it's like VPC accessor will take the request and send the request to the VPCs like that, and then there is a load balancer also connected, which is like routing the service, like routing the request. Like whenever I hit this request like on this IP, so it will just like send the request to VPC, and then it will come to my service like via VPC accessor. So how did I do it? Let's just create new service over here, then I'm gonna explain it step by step. So first what we have to do, we have to check like we have a VPC created, or if you don't have VPC created, so you can create new VPC over here. Otherwise you can just leave it as it is. By default you're gonna have the VPC created, so you're gonna be having like this default, okay, and you have 44 subnets over here. You can be like having more because you can create your own subnets. Otherwise you can just leave it as it is. Okay, now you go back to Cloud Run over here, and then like just deploy container, connect repo, and the write function. So you can deploy the cloud functions as well. These cloud functions are nothing but they work the same as the Lambda function into the AWS console, so don't get confused about that. It's like both the things work same. So the cloud function will receive the request, like you can directly hit the request on that because you're gonna create the API. Otherwise you can, mostly the cloud functions are being used like if you have a pub/sub created. Pub/sub means like the queue service created, so pub/sub is called in the Google Cloud. So you can just directly make this write function as a subscriber. Queue service will subscribe this function, and then whenever any event comes into that like pub/sub, it will just send the event to subscriber, and it will receive the payload and then execute all the data inside this function. So it's kind of that. We're going to talk about it later. It's same like the Lambda function. The way we write the code, the way keep the code, everything is same, so don't get confused. Connect repo is the same thing. I already explained about that. You can just click on this and it can connect with GitHub, and then select the repo, and then select the branch, and then you can just deploy it. Whenever you commit the code and push it, then it will just deploy the latest image. And deploy the container, it will just take you to select the image, and then that image you can deploy it. So you can just go over here, container image URL. Let's see, we have a URL. So we have this like FritFlow test demo container, something like that. So we can just select this hello, and then select select over here, hello, and then Euro West. I'm gonna keep it to US Central 1. All are low C2, so CO2. So what we can just keep it to US Central 1 because I'm keeping everything in the same region. So where's the US Central? US. So it should be over here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. So let's just select the US Central, allow public access. Yeah, just keep it allow public access. Require authentication means like you need to have the authentication. So let's suppose you have to give the access to this service. So let's suppose whoever have your like this console access, so they can only access this service. So they have to log in through the Google and then they can just get inside the service and then check. Otherwise they would not be able to. So that just keep it allow public access all the time if you're deploying any service. Okay, after that just all like allow direct access, no, just keep it internal. So if you keep it internal, allow traffic from external application load balancer, and then if you keep it, so that it's gonna accept the request from the load balancer. Okay, now go to container network security. So just open it and then we're gonna see some more options over here. So container command, we can leave it empty. Otherwise if you have some secrets and also you can just add those secrets over here. Otherwise just leave it as it is. We don't have secrets. Okay, so we can just leave it as it is, I think. And then let me just check over here one more time. Okay, I'm going to leave everything as it is. And then auto scaling, instance based, request based. Yeah, everything seems good. So we can just normally just deploy it, create, make sure all fields are correct. So we're having one problem inside this. So we can just remove this because we don't have any variable or something. So just create it. Let's see. And once it's going to be created, so then we have to connect with the VPC and all. So in one VPC accessor, I think we can have like around 10 to 15 services according to the defined range, that range you have defined for the IP address. So not more than that you can keep. So you have to understand the CIDR range of IP address. So let's suppose if you have taken something like 24 or 32, so you have like less address range like 16. It depends on the kind of like binary number, bits and all. If you keep 16, so it's gonna be more. So mostly it's like 24 only. So it's like it's gonna give you access to deploy only 13 to 15 services. So it's come over here. So you just internal network like VPC none. We have to go to security, I think, and then allow access, edit and deploy. I think we missed something over here. Otherwise it would ask us to, okay, networking. Yeah, over here. So we have to just check this one, connect to a VPC outbound service, send directly traffic to VPC, and you can just send directly or you can use serverless VPC access. So that's a beneficial way. You don't have to do too many things over here. Just connect default. I have already VPC accessor connected. I will show you where we can create it. And then only request to private IP and a request all traffic to VPC. And there are two options. So if you are making a service very secured, so you can add the like security over here like this. Otherwise you can just request or route all traffic to VPC, like whatever incoming, outgoing, all those things. Okay, now you can deploy it and then just check the security. What is this over here? Yeah, we can leave it as it is. And yeah, that's it. And later we have to just configure other things over here. So now this service will not be accessible on the internet if you have like any, yeah, let's suppose you have this URL created and services deployed, and you go over here and then you try to hit the request. You're gonna see like this page not found, request URL not found. Okay, let me take you to the VPC accessor page. Just remember the step. So, and because I'm just gonna be explaining you everything, so it's kind of that. So this is the VPC accessor. I think it would be somewhere. Let me just go to VPC. Yeah, let's go to VPC network and we're gonna find that option over here nearby. So it's like VPC, serverless VPC access. Okay, you go over here and then, so this is the by default already created. And if we have to create new one, so we can just click on create connector and then we have to just name it and then select the region, which region. So it should be same region that VPC has it. And after that you can just select the which network means a VPC, and then you can just define the subnet range, like what IP range you want to define. So the custom IP range, I already have it like, so CISA 28. So I have it already 10,000 like this. So I don't think it's gonna take it. So I have to like select different ones. So I can just do it's give you the example. So T0.1, I can just take this one. So it should take it, I think, and name like default test. Okay, yeah, so it give you the example. You can select this example as well. Otherwise you can choose your own as well. So you can just, and then it will work for you. Okay, and like other things like about this IP address, like these all the numbers and points, we can talk in a different video because it's gonna be too long. So I just want to explain all the steps how we can do it. But yeah, this is a definition of like discussing how should we define, how should we select the IP address range and all. So for now, just understand like we can just take it like option like this and we can change the number over here and it will just, okay, so we can just create create like this, and then just so I'm going to cancel it because I already have a default VPC accessor, so I'm just going to use that. And also we have to create the Cloud NAT as well, so we can just go to Cloud NAT. So Cloud NAT is what, like, it's nothing but a NAT gateway. So if you don't have a Cloud NAT created, your services or like your request from VPC not gonna be accessible from the internet, or like to the internet is kind of that. So make sure you have the Cloud NAT created, and it will make it accessible to the internet. Okay, so you have to select like a public, not the private, if you want to make it public. Otherwise you can, if you want to keep it only private, so private to private connection, so you can create a private as well. Okay, so VPC network is connected like default. Cloud router, you have to create router as well, and then router also have to define the IP address. So it's like if I go inside the router, so all these options you will get over here immediately, so you don't have to go anywhere. Okay, and then so it's like this: NAT gateway public, and all these definitions over here, and then you can just see everything over here, and then you can just go back simple. So the Cloud NAT is very important. I'm always getting again NAT gateway because habit of like talking about that. Yeah, so the Cloud NAT is important, so make sure remember it, and then you just have to connect with the network and then define the subnet, and then it will be good. Okay, and then let's next go to load balancer. So we just go to load balancer because the last part is load balancer, and let's check it. So I already have one load balancer connected, like test load balancer. I'm just gonna create another one. So load balancer, which one we're gonna choose? We're gonna choose the application load balancer, not the network load balancer, because we are like deploying an application, so that's why. So just let's create a new load balancer. So create load balancer, and then just select the internet. So I'm gonna be choosing the application. So there's a definition already given what kind of like why and which load balancer you should use. Okay, in what case. So it's kind of that. Next, and then public facing internal. So I'm just gonna keep it public facing because it's gonna receive requests from public internet. And then you come over here, so just select the regional workload because we are just keeping it enabled for US Central 1, not for multiple regions. Okay, and then we create the load balancer, configure, and then we just have to assign the name over here. So we can just assign the name test 1. US Central network is default. Okay, and then by default it automatically took the public subnet because our like service gonna be in the same subnet, so we can use it. Front end configuration, you can just name it like whatever you want to name. What should I name? Test 2, I think. Test 1, I think. We can keep it same, it's fine. Premium, no premium is standard. Okay, IP address. So if you keep it ephemeral, so it will automatically assign IP address, and if you have like custom IP address created, you can go inside of it. You don't have to go, you just have to select over here. So the custom IP address is going to be listed over here. So you can just create IP address, and that IP address you can also use it for like connecting with your custom domain, because it's going to ask you to like update the SSL certificate over there and then connect your custom domain over there. So you're going to get all the option into the IP address, and then it will make it accessible on the SSL routes as well. Okay, so we're going to just leave it empty, and then I'm going to go you in the IP address section, and I'm going to explain you other things. Okay, so just make it done. Come to the backend part. Over here you have to select the backend services, so that test is the backend. So I'm gonna create another backend service because I have to select the another service. Okay, so this is the backend service which is test is showing. That is for the previous one, which is FritFlow Git. I'm gonna create another backend service over here. So the test 2, and then instant group is like my serverless cloud run. Okay, and then I will just select the endpoint group over here, test US Central 1. After in the backend you're gonna see the option new backend or user. So this backend is like for another service in the cloud run. I'm going to create another network endpoint, so I have to create like test 2. Same, I can keep the names test 2, and then I can create the service. So which service I want to select? So I want to select hello because recently we did reply hello. Traffic tag, just keep it none. URL mask, no, nothing, and then just create. Okay, test 2 is selected, you can mark it done. Other than that, you just enable logging. You can enable login, so you're gonna see everything in the log explorer, whatever going on. Otherwise you have some different options for policy name and other things. If you want to select, you can use it, otherwise just leave it empty. Okay, create. Okay, and then test 2 is selected. Now we can click OK, and then when we can just go to next phase. So we can just go to routing rule. Okay, over here routing rule, simple advanced host, so we can just leave it as it is. We don't have to do any other things over here, host path or something like matching things. We don't have to do it. Review and finalize, so we can just come over here, review everything is fine, then we can just click on create. It will create the IP address, attach the IP address address with load balancer, that IP address will be created into the IP address section. We're gonna see over there as well, and then try to load it as well over here in the network, and we should able to access it on the HTTP route, not HTTPS. So let's see. So I'm gonna wait for a while and I'm gonna see you after it's finished. Alright guys, so the service is up, and as you can see, I'm inside that load balancer, and then it has assigned the IP address, and then it is deployed on port 80, and we can use this port to access the service, and other things are showing as it is over here. And then we have like 2 IP addresses over here, like 2 load balancer over here. So one is this test which is running over here, this one, and like this IP address 35.206.87.9. if I go inside of it, I will show you. So it will show you, see, 35.206.87.9, and now we have another one which is loading test 1, and then this one is like 35.208.55.41.80. okay, so we just come over here, and this is the 41, and it's running. Okay, so I just tried it, and then it's run. It takes 2-3 minutes to get it deployed properly, because it's not like you just hosted it and it will be get deployed. It will take 2-3 minutes to route everything, configure everything, and then you see this is our hello service and it's working fine. Okay, let's go to the IP address and check that thing, and then we just rest this video for today. So let's go to IP address section. So I think we just go to IP addresses. We're gonna find this IP address over there. So we have this IP address over here, 35.208.55.41, and then view action. So you promote the IP address, you can promote it, click on it, and you can just promote the IP address. Otherwise you can just reserve an external IP address. So if you want to create new IP address before like hosting, like creating a load balancer, so you have to do like this, is reserve external IP address. You can come over here, you can put the name, everything. You can like select this pricing, network service tier. So I just keep it as standard, central region and everything, and then it will be like reserved, okay, for you. IP address, it will create it and assign it to you. In next video I will make the SSL connection. I will route my domain from the Cloudflare to over here, and then create a SSL certificate, and then I can easily host this on same IP as well. I don't have to do anything else. Okay, so I'll show you that thing in the next video. Till then, that's it from this video, and let me know if you didn't get any part of this, like any part from this video. So like whatever you didn't understand, or like some confusion, or you're not able to deploy your service, or you're stuck somewhere, you can comment down, you can email me. I will definitely help you. Till then, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.